Hey everyone, I'm here with Chemistry Cat. He says, "You've cat to be kidding me, right? Meow." Must be cat language. So I hope you've accessed your notes on naming hydrates. We're going to look at what they are, how to name them, and how to write formulas. And hydrates are really just crystal compounds where you have one or more water molecules that are attached to it. And it's an ionic compound that has a special ratio of water molecules attached or adhering to it. And that would all depend on what the substance is as to how many water molecules are attached. So in this example, we've got copper 2 sulfate, and it typically has 5 water molecules attached. No more, no less. So this little dot that you're looking at right here is not a time sign. What it is just a little symbol that indicates that the water molecules are attached and those water molecules can be driven off if we heat this substance. So for every 1 mole of copper sulfate, and we don't write the 1, it's understood, we have 5 moles of water. Or you could look at it and say, well, for every 1 formula unit of copper 2 sulfate, we have 5 water molecules that are attached. So whenever we are naming a hydrate, we're just going to name it like we would a normal ionic compound, and we're going to tell with a prefix how many water molecules there are and attach the word hydrate to that prefix. So you'll notice that we have an X and a Y in the general formula for all of our hydrates. The X is representative of our cation, and the cation is always written first. Our cation is typically a metal that has a charge. The Y is representative of our anion. Our anion is either going to be a non-metal, of course, with a negative charge, or one of those polyatomic ions that has a negative charge. So at this time, you should find your periodic table that has the polyatomic ion table on the back and the elements that get Roman numerals whenever we name them because they form more than one oxidation number. So for our first prefix, mono. Mono means one. We do not write the one in front of the water. It's going to be understood. Okay, so do you remember the prefix for 2? The prefix for 2 is di, and we have to attach the word hydrate. So 2 water molecules, dihydrate. How about 3? Trihydrate. You remember the prefix for 4? Tetra. How about 5? Pentahydrate. I put these little strike marks to indicate hydrate. How about 6? Hexa. You remember 7? Hepta. Everyone should know 8. Octa. 9. Nona. And 10. Deca. So 10 water molecules would be decahydrate. So let's examine our first example here. We have to kind of look and figure out, well, where's our cation and where's our anion? So the first element, which is a metal cation. Okay, Ni stands for what metal? Stands for nickel. Now, if you check your list, okay, nickel gets a Roman numeral. Nickel is one of those D block elements. So you always have to check your list to make sure it gets a Roman numeral or not. Now, we don't know what the Roman numeral is going to be until we take a look at our anion and what the charge on our single anion is. So look up SO3 on your polyatomic table. That is sulfite. The charge on sulfite is a -2. And you'll notice that we have 2 nickels here. What does the charge on each of those nickels have to be in order to cancel out this -2 charge? I hope you said +1, because remember, ionic compounds have an overall charge of 0. The positive charges on the cations and the negative charges on the anions cancel each other out. So what's our Roman numeral for nickel going to be? The charge on its cation. Okay, so it says nickel 1 sulfite, and we have 6 water molecules attached. So that is going to be hexahydrate. Big long name, nickel 1 sulfite hexahydrate. So let's take a look at the second example. Okay, our first element is sodium. Sodium, if you locate it on your periodic table, is in group 1, the very first column. And group 1 and group 2 elements never get Roman numerals because they only ever form a +1 for group 1 and a +2 for group 2 as the oxidation number. Okay, now we're going to look up B4O7 on your polyatomic ions. That is tetraborate. Not to be confused with any of these here prefixes. It's a polyatomic ion that we would look up on the back in that table. Our 10 water molecules, we have to add the word decahydrate. Sodium tetraborate decahydrate. Sounds pretty impressive, doesn't it? Okay, copper 2. Copper 2, what does that Roman numeral tell us about this copper? Tells us what the charge is. And we need to take a look at sulfate and write its formula down. It's SO4. And it has a -2 charge. Super important that you write that down so that you can figure out how many of each cation and anion you need to make a neutral ionic compound. +2 and -2 cancel each other out, so we only need one of each, one copper and one sulfate. And then we're going to put our little dot here. Now, if you cannot find the dot to insert in there, you can just put an underscore, okay? And then put your pentahydrate, which will be 5 water molecules, so 5H2O. Okay, so there's our formula. No parentheses needed here because it's just a 1-to-1 ratio of copper to sulfate. Barium symbol is Ba. If you locate it on your periodic table, it is in group 2, so that tells us we have a positive 2 charge. Bromide was bromine, and it is a halogen, and the halogens all have a negative 1 charge. So how many bromines do you think we're going to need? We're going to need 2 of them. 1 barium, 2 bromines, so BaBr2, dihydrate. Again, if you need, just put a little underscore if you can't find the dot to insert, and then our 2 water molecules. Okay, you could write it like that if you wish. Okay, give the next one a try. Calcium is Ca, second column, second group, positive 2. Nitrate is NO3. It has only a negative 1 charge. So how many calciums and how many nitrates are needed? 1 calcium, but we need 2 nitrates. That has to go inside of a pair of parentheses. NO3, parenthesis, subscript 2, tetrahydrate. Tetra is 4. My little dot, 4H2O. So this is how you write formulas of hydrates and name compounds of hydrates. You have a worksheet to complete and submit. And don't forget to submit your notes as well. See you tomorrow. Remember, I have office hours if you need help.